Welcome, everyone, to Unity Center of Pittsburgh. We are so grateful to be with you this morning on this lovely, sunny Sunday. My name is Jan Kaylin, and I'll be your service leader this morning, and I am so blessed to be here with you. So, as you know, Unity is a New Thought spiritual philosophy which affirms that there is one loving and creative power in the universe. And there is no separation between this loving God energy and ourselves. We have come together to celebrate the truth of our divine nature and to open our gift of love together. So let's read our vision and mission statements together. We envision a spiritually awakened world flowing with divine love. We are an inclusive, loving, growing community dedicated to teach, inspire, and practice positive spiritual living. So now we're going to stand for our first song, and after the song, we are going to greet each other. So let's stand. We're going to sing, I Am the Energy of God.
Indeed. I am the energy of God. I am the energy of God. I am the energy of God. And I am the energy of peace. I am the energy of peace. I am the energy of peace. And I am the energy of love. I am the energy of love. I am the energy of love and life. I am the energy of life. I am the energy of life. I am the energy of life and joy. I am the energy of joy. I am the energy of joy. I am the energy of joy.
All right, say hello to everybody. Good morning. Say hi.
Some of the people were responding. That was great that you said the joy you had in the next word. Isn't that what you did? That's great. That's fabulous. It's really, that's neat.
Susanna. That high one's a little painful. All right, wasn't that fun to get to say hi to everybody? Stand up and walk around and get some hugs and some fist bumps and some handshakes. Yes. So let's do our opening prayer together. Let's quiet our minds, open our hearts, and center in this present moment. We are grateful for this life that we are expressing. We realize we are the channels through which God's power flows. We release our worries and open our minds to the eternal love that blesses and supports us. We are awake with energy, peace, and love. We are inspired with understanding. With gratitude and certainty, we say, Amen, and so it is. Now I get to light the Christ candle, which represents the divine truth of our one loving God energy that exists within each one of us. This is the Christ consciousness. We affirm this love and light is omnipresent with us always. And as Jesus said, you are the light of the world. So, let's say our unity principles together. God is the source and creator of all. There is no other enduring power. God is good and present everywhere. We are spiritual beings created in God's image. Therefore, within each person, therefore, all people are inherently good. We create our life experiences through our way of thinking. Through prayer and meditation, we increase our conscious contact with God, bringing forth love, wisdom, health, prosperity, and everything good. Knowledge of these spiritual principles is not enough. We must live them. All right. So today, our daily word, which is actually the subject of our talk today, today's daily word is prosperity. My prosperity is unlimited. I claim my good now. After King Darius hauled an unbitten Daniel from the lion's den, the king wrote to other nations to praise the divine power that delivered this Hebrew prophet by taming hungry beasts. Overcome by divine goodness, Darius prayed for abundant prosperity among the people of the ancient world. Today, the lions I face may be rising prices when shopping and greater costs for basic needs. Even in that den of apparent lack, my prosperity is unlimited. In prayer, I claim my good, grateful to live in an abundant universe. I pray that cooperative interaction with others who are seeking their own prosperity brings an end to poverty and establishes world peace. I claim prosperity for myself and all others. And from Daniel, then King Darius wrote to all peoples and nations of every language throughout the whole world, may you have abundant prosperity. So let's say our affirmation 3 times together. My prosperity is unlimited. I claim my good now. My prosperity is unlimited. I claim my good now. My prosperity is unlimited. I claim my good now. So now we move into prayerful intentions. And if you would like to write the name of a person or situation you would like prayer for on a prayer request slip, they're in the plastic boxes in front of you in the pews. If you are online, feel free to go to silentunity.org. We bring these individuals into the healing light of prayer. We see them in any situation surrounded and nourished by the healing balm of love and light. We see radiant health and wholeness, comfort for those in distress, resolution to conflicts, wisdom and guidance for our world leaders, and peaceful collaboration in all relationships. And we hold those in our unity family who are facing health challenges in the healing light of love. So let's move into song as we bring these individuals and situations into the healing light of prayer. Health, wholeness, and happiness. Hit it.
Health, wholeness, and happiness. Health, wholeness, and happiness. Praise the good and raise the world with health, wholeness, and happiness. Love, laughter, and letting go. Love, laughter, and letting go. Praise the good and raise the world with love, laughter, and letting go. Well, wonder, and willingness. Well, wonder, and willingness. Praise the good and raise the world with wealth, wonder, and willingness. Health, wholeness, and happiness. Health, wholeness, and happiness. Praise the good and raise the world with health, wholeness, and happiness.
Thank you. So you may place your prayer slips in the collection basket toward the end of the service, and they are sent to Silent Unity, where they'll receive 30 days of extra prayer. So now we get another song from our wonderful Lucy and Mila, Something to Believe In.
This is the first time we've shared this one here. So I always just like to share why I picked it. And I love this song because it is, at first listen, it's a love song, which when you hear it on the radio, it's like a romantic love song. But of course, there's a lot more to it than that. There's a lot more to love than that. And there's a question and an exchange in it that I thought was very appropriate for our community here. So this is Something to Believe In. You want something constant and you want something sure, something you can hold, something secure. I've seen your eyes knocking and turn from the door. Tell me what it is you're looking for. If you need something to believe in, you can believe in my love. Your heroes stand tall and you lean on their weight when one takes a hard fall. With them you break. Well, the rope never mattered till it was holding your weight. I guess trust is a chance you take. If you need something to believe in, you can believe in my love. Well, I've spent my life looking for a truth I can bear, but kingdoms are just sand, and a throne is just a chair. Dreams are born to grow up, to die and tear, and spring again in the summer air. I've needed someone to believe in. I've needed someone to believe in. I've needed someone to believe in. Can I believe in your love?
Thank you, Lucy and Mila. That was beautiful. Ooh, really hits you in the heart, doesn't it? So this Sunday service was created for you today to uplift and inspire you. And we thank you for your generous donations to support this spiritual ministry. And now we get to celebrate the Daily Word and hear about the 100 years that the Daily Word has actually been with us. And Bobbi is going to tell us all about it. Come on up.
Well, hi there all. I'm excited. This is my idea, right? We've been reading the Daily Word, many of us, for such a long time. It's like a staple of existence. When was it not with us? I can hardly remember a time when I wasn't reading it. And so I want to talk to you about how terrific it is as we celebrate its 100th anniversary, yeah? So I've been collecting Daily Words now for about 40 years. And I'm lucky enough to have the 50th anniversary edition, which was published in my lifetime, yeah, but before I was subscribing. And recently I picked up, it's a little heavier, the 100th anniversary edition of the Daily Word, which had just such good gems in it about what this little publication means to us in Unity, because of course it's a Unity publication, but it means so much to people all over the world, and you'll hear a little bit about that soon. It's quite amazing, and to think that it's just all in a little book. It's like a pamphlet, right? Little booklet, like, what is it? Don't know. It must not be much. Not true. Okay. So, you might think that the Daily Word was invented by Charles or Myrtle Fillmore. That's what I might surmise, yeah. Knowing their history and how prolific they were, and knowing that Charles was a publisher, right? He started out publishing that little newspaper in Texas. That's where he learned to publish things. He helped out a man somewhere close to Galveston. I believe it wasn't that city, but I'm not going to be able to come up with the real name of that city. I don't know. I'm going off in my own tangent. But not so. About a number of years into the ministry, now figure that Unity claims its start from when Charles and Myrtle sat down together and said, we've had this healing. We've demonstrated that God is working in and through us. We know how to claim our divinity. We know how to do it, and we're showing our friends. That's about at what point they were. Married for about 8 years, I believe, and working as a team. They had already had 2 children. And they sat down and said, you know, it's time. It's time we make an agreement. Not with each other anymore, but an agreement between ourselves and God. And it was in 1889 that they signed the covenant with God, saying that we pledge all we are and all we have to this idea of spreading truth to whomever we can spread it, to wherever we're led. And it was in that attraction, that give and take, inviting in friends, talking about healing, and talking about Myrtle's own experience and healing the people in their community in Kansas City, Missouri at the time. They thought they were developing a school because Charles loved to read and he loved to write. He wrote articles, many, many articles, and he published them. He published these little, they were called tracts, T-R-A-C-T, tracts. And they were usually one-page essays about a certain topic. He'd print them off and send them out and charge a penny for a tract. People would sign up and, I like that last one. I really learned a lot. Tell me more. And then eventually the word of the prayer practice, the healing practice got out. And he started publishing, I have it, not Modern Thought, I'll come to it. If I just follow my, yes, it was Modern Thought. If I just follow my outline, I'll be just fine. But as I was saying, it was not Charles Fillmore who started the Daily Word. He hired a young man who lived in his town, who lived in Kansas City, and his name was Frank B. Whitney. Now, Frank had been practicing dentistry for about 4 years, but he got in the fold of healing, and he started listening, going to lectures with Charles and Myrtle, and he was very excited. So Charles hired him to be, let's see, he came to work at Silent Unity. They had already had their prayer service where they prayed over people's requests, and they took requests from their friends, and they were getting a correspondence set up so that people in other states were sending letters and requests for prayer. Of course, we are not talking about telephones yet, right? When we learned about Silent Unity, we heard about, the prayer ministry that's on the telephone. Not so much. It was first in letters. So people wrote letters like, I'm in dire need. My son's in dire need. I know somebody who's dying. Can you please help me? And so the prayer service started out as a letter writing campaign. So somebody would get the letter, write a letter in return, and send it off and hope that everything was well. Pray that everything was well. Well, Frank Whitney was charged, or he was hired, to come to work at Silent Unity. He did that, and he became, 3 years later, he became the dean of the Unity Correspondence School. Okay, so I already talked about that it was a correspondence event. People wrote letters, the letters were returned in prayer, and then he became dean of the Correspondence School because Charles and Myrtle really thought that they were building a school. They didn't know how this revelation, how this prayerful tradition that they were building fit in the world. You know, where is this going to be? And their concept was, well, we do lectures and we write letters and we write articles, so we're teaching, it must be a school. So they called themselves the school. And Frank B. Whitney was the first dean of the Correspondence School, which means if you couldn't come to see Frank and Myrtle in person, you could write a letter to the Correspondence School and maybe get good pamphlets in return and learn about this new thought, this new way of being, new way of thinking about who you are. Well, Frank was in the Correspondence School until he started the Daily Word. He came to Charles and said, you know, I think these people I write letters to would really like a daily reminder, like a calendar, a little essay for every day of the year, every day, not just this one letter that I give them. And so when Charles and Myrtle heard about this idea, they said, well, sure. So that's now your new job. And so Frank B. Whitney, who had been dean of this correspondence school for many years, started the Daily Word. In those days, it was called Unity Daily Word because Charles and Myrtle had already Charles received the word unity in a meditation one day. I do want to tell you that after his first year in Silent Unity, Frank Whitney married a young girl just out of high school. Her name was Clara May Hoagland, and she was very young. 1 year later, she became the director of Silent Unity. That tells you how smart she was, right? 1 year out of high school, married this guy, and became director of Silent Unity. Whoosh! Of course, it wasn't so big as it is today. We know her not as Clara May Whitney, but we know her by the name of her second husband, who was Mr. Rowland, and that was May Rowland. And you may know that she was director of Silent Unity for 55 years, wrote a ton of things. I'm sure there are 2 or 3 books on our shelves by May Rowland. Lovely stuff. So, Frank Whitney is remembered for his one divine idea that people seeking support from the Unity Prayer Ministry, or Silent Unity, would appreciate an uplifting message to begin every day. He suggested a little booklet of devotionals sold by subscription. The first issue was July 1st, 1924. Now, in the early days, the daily words were not the uplifting, positive messages that they are today. They were a little bit more teachy, a little bit more instructive, a little bit more like lessons. The format for a daily word, an uplifting daily word or an uplifting daily phrase, just evolved over time, just like Unity has evolved, just like we all evolve, right? That's how life is. We evolve. Things aren't like they were before. Things changed. But I can tell you that has developed into the word that it is, and it is now published in over 100 countries. I'm sorry, it's published here, but it's distributed in almost 100 countries. It's published in English, German, Portuguese, and Spanish. And you probably already know that there's also a large print version. There's also a Braille edition that goes out to about 900 people every other month. So Unity strives to hit the people, to meet the needs of the people who are asking for it. That's where they've always tried to do. You may also have heard stories of it being translated to other languages. In researching this, I learned that it had been translated into Afrikaans, into Chinese, into Dutch, French, Russian, and Tamil. Can you imagine it getting so many different places? And usually those were because, now you realize that Unity doesn't have missionaries like a lot of churches do. Unity has this, and it actually promotes itself. Once it's out there, somebody picks it up and loves it and promotes it themselves. So all those last languages I told you about, they were picked up by somebody who knew a little bit about Unity and thought that their own population, their own people that they knew, would love it and translated it themselves at their own expense. So that's how those other languages came to be, and some of those documents are on file at Unity Village in the archives. But wherever it is, it brings messages of hope and inspiration for so many. There are numerous stories about people using the daily word, needing the daily word after natural disasters. It's really in a great deal of need after mudslides and hurricanes, and it finds its way to those places. So next time you think of, if there's a disaster and think, what can I do? Send a daily word. Pray for them, and then send a little copy off. Okay, what's in a daily word? In every daily word, you will notice, there are 12 main topics. If you look in the paper versions, there's always a little calendar. I happen to have picked up one of the ones that was monthly. Now they are bi-monthly. We get 2 months in one little booklet, probably to save postage. But in the older days, and when I started picking them up myself, it was 1 month, and it cost $1 for the subscription for 12 little issues, right? And there's a little calendar that tells you each day of the month. So if you are like, oh, gee, I really need some prosperity, and you can just look up, oh yeah, prosperity is on the 17th, and you can look up the 17th of that month and read the prosperity prayer. Or you can say, oh, my birthday's coming up. I wonder what the prayer will be for that day, so you can find it that way, right? There are 12 mainstay topics in every month of the daily word, and they are healing. Yeah, of course, healing. Isn't that how it all started? Faith, prayer. People call in for prayer. Please pray with me. Prosperity, guidance, letting go and letting God. Divine order, peace, forgiveness. grace, protection, and joy. Those 12 you'll find in every month because those are the most asked for topics from people in prayer. And then they're filled in with all the other requests, sometimes for animals, sometimes for all sorts of, I can just pick up one of these and find out what they might have. A call for love. Certainly the February edition always has lots and lots of things to say about love. Rediscovery, guidance, women, all sorts of topics that might just be the ticket to what you need at that moment. There's always a Bible verse at the bottom of the Daily Word. Those of us who come here all the time, we know that they are closely aligned with the words in the text. And now there are two versions of the Daily Word that happen all the time. There's the print version, which I really like, and there's the online version, which is also very useful. I get them both because the online version is convenient. It's available. It's right here when I want to look at it, right? I might be waiting in line at the grocery store and I have 4 people to wait through. I can just find it and I can read the Daily Word while I'm in line. I really like that. I was on the beach in January and I could walk along the beach and I didn't read the Daily Word yet. I'll find it. I pulled out after I looked up the tide schedule, I would pull out my Daily Word and read the word for the day. It was lovely. However, the print version is lasting. It's right here. It's always where I put it, even though I might lose it. There's poetry in every version. I'm not that much of a poetry reader, but some of these poems really touch me. I don't know why. I think because I started reading fun little poems when I was a little girl, and they found a place in my heart, and there's a place that they stick. This is the version that has the calendar. And this is the version that has this, usually an inspiring story about somebody's life. Nowadays, now that there's 2 months in every booklet, there are 2 stories about somebody's life. These inspirational stories can be anybody, but sometimes they've been really famous people. I read one about June Allison. Do you remember her? She used to be she's an actor from my mother's era. Beautiful little girl who had a terrible accident and broke half the bones in her body because a tree fell on her after a storm. She prayed, Daily Word, yeah, and her bones all healed. She became the dancer and the actor that we know her to be. And I swear, I remember reading Oprah Winfrey's story in one of these books, and I can't find it anywhere. I looked online. I looked at Film More Faith, that wonderful online repertoire of all facts about unity, and I couldn't find it. I Googled, Oprah Winfrey in the Daily Word, and it took me straight to the Daily Word website, so it kind of bypassed her, but I thought I read it. Anyway, way back when Frank Whitney was writing the Daily Word for all those years, he wrote most of the articles himself. May wrote some of them, and he also wrote most of the poetry. A little bit later, James Dillett Freeman, the poet laureate of Unity, who was a close friend of Myrtle and Charles, started writing more. He's very famous. But let me read you one poem by Frank Whitney that he wrote in 1934, 10 years after this started to be published. It's called Stop and Pray. When things about you are disturbed and all the world's amiss, when other persons seem to take away your joy and bliss, there's but one thing you can do if you would clear your day. Cease thinking of disturbing things and stop where you are and pray. Right? Little couplets just right to give you the message of that's what I need to do. I wasn't sure what to do. Sometimes the poems hit me in a place that my intellect gets, my intellect wants to solve everything, and that's not always the way it needs to be solved. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I found the daily word. When I originally planned this talk, I thought I would like to tell you how I found the daily word and what it means to me, and I would like to find out from you what it means to you. And we attracted 2 other speakers, and we have one of them here today. But I'll start with myself, since that's the one I know the best. I became aware of the daily word when I was a child, and they had the word from Unity on television. Apparently, Unity, at various times in their history, bought a TV spot. Now, in the early days of TV, it wasn't that expensive to have a TV spot, and I believe these messages were about 15 seconds long. My mom would organize her work morning and do all the chores of the house that needed to be done. And at 12 o'clock, she would turn on the news on the television, make her lunch, and then make sure she was sitting in front of the television at the table so she could watch her soap operas. There were soap operas in those days at 12:30, and then another one at 1:45 or 12:45. Each of them was 15 minutes long. But in between, Unity had bought that little space. And so if I were home, I would stay and watch the soap opera, eat my lunch with my mom, and then at that 15-minute spot, my mom would get up and go get water or something from the kitchen. But it was the word from Unity, and I was always so interested in it. I remember, and it was a different actor every time. I remember one time it was Charlton Heston. I knew him from the 10 Commandments. So the word from Unity, and you'd have this booming voice tell you the word for the day. And they read a little bit. It wasn't a whole section, as you would picture one of these, maybe a third of it, because it was a 15-second spot, and then it would end, and it would say, that was the word from Unity. And they wouldn't tell you anything more about what Unity was, so I didn't know what it was. I thought, I don't know, it was just a public service announcement from the TV channel because they were being nice to me. But I always watched it, even though my mom wasn't interested. I was like, that was really good. So I had this like subliminal idea that the word is important. It's something that feeds me better than lunch, right? In the insight of a child. Later, as an adult, I was working through some of my thoughts and emotions and other issues with the benefit of a 12-step program. Many of those meetings are in churches, and sometimes there were giveaway tables in these church lobbies, and I picked up an expired daily word. I didn't know what it was. I opened it up and I read something, and I thought, that's pretty good. I'll stick it in my stash. Maybe I'll need that someday. I probably picked up more than one over the time that I was participating in that. And that probably added to the fact that when I was on sabbatical, some of you know my real story about driving across country and driving into Unity Village, because I had heard that it was a publishing company, and I wanted to get the tour. The AAA tour guide said that there are tours 5 days of the week, starting at 8:30, and I wanted the tour. And so I showed up, and they said, there's no tour. Because it was like 3 days before April, so it was still the end of March, and said, we don't have a tour. And I was, well, what am I doing here? I drove all the way out here. I'm in Kansas City, and I wanted the tour. Anyway, I ended up staying for, they call them, I don't remember what they called them at that time, but the classes that we have taken to be licensed teachers. And I took 5 classes those couple weeks, and I drove back and took 5 classes 6 more times. I loved it. Changed my life. But it started with this, it started with the word. Often when I'm in a waiting room nowadays, I'll pick up my daily word and read just a little bit. I'll go back to old issues. For example, I recently had a healing need, and I pulled out all my daily word healing pieces, and I would read them. Not daily, many times a day, just to have those words filtering through my mind, filtering through my heart, because there's some real good text, and my mind responds really well to words, and I loved it. So this is something that I've made a habit of. It's an amazing resource. It's amazing how versatile and targeted it is. It just hits exactly the right spot sometimes. And other times, not so much, right? Sometimes, today's daily word didn't hit me at all. But if I'm interested, I can probably use that directory and read ahead or read behind and find one that does hit me and that really does help me. So that's how I use the Daily Word. And for our second sample, we have with us today our good friend, Carlos Roas, who's going to tell you his experience of the Daily Word. Carlos?
Thank you, Bobbi. Thank you. Good morning, and thank you all, and especially to Bobbi for inviting me. It's a gift, Bobbi, to be here and share this short story with you. People that know me here know that I came to Unity thanks to my mom. So the first half of this story is about my mom. In the mid-'80s, she was a woman from the 70s, a very 70s woman. She got her college degree, she earned her own money, she got her own car that was quite different from an average woman by then. And she was born and raised Catholic, as my family used to be by then. But she started feeling like she didn't fit in. I have learned valuable lessons from Catholicism, but I need something else. I need something that looks more like me. So she started her spiritual quest, okay? And as Bobbi said, I don't know how, I don't remember how she got her first daily word booklet. But this invited her to go to Unity in Caracas, Venezuela, when I was born and raised. I was in my early teens. And it was a small, beautiful house in a neighborhood in Caracas, a neighborhood, I remember it, with lots of trees, a very welcoming neighborhood, a very welcoming small house. The congregation was pretty small, very few people, but so kind and lovely, and being myself 20 or 14 years of age, I remember that I enjoyed it. I mean, maybe I didn't totally understand what was happening, but I felt comfortable there. And I saw that mom was like, okay, this is my place. I belong here, okay? And those are the first memories I have about Unity. At some point, we didn't go anymore. It was far from home, and, life happens. But I always kept those good memories of Unity and that small, beautiful house among trees with me. Then my mom passed away. I moved to the U.S. And again, for the second time, I got a Unity booklet. I don't remember how. I don't remember who. But this is the very first book of Unity I got here in the U.S. It's 2018. It was in Miami. And I was like, oh, Unity. My mom used to go there. Let me see if there is Unity here in Miami. And there is a beautiful Unity building in Miami. I don't know if any of you know it. If you go to Miami and happen to have some time to visit Unity there, I recommend it to visit Unity there because their name is Unity on the Bay. It's in the front of Bay Biscayne. It's a white, beautiful building. I don't know, maybe it belonged to something else before, but it's a white, beautiful, small building with windows, and it's a lovely building. I went there. They even have a small library there. So I went to their small library, and it came back to my mind. Unity, okay, with this book, I have a pending here, okay? But then COVID hit. And because of COVID, I was laid off in Miami. I got a good job offer in Pittsburgh, so I moved here. And among my belongings that I brought to Pittsburgh was this booklet from 2018. I'm now speaking about 2020, 2 years after. So I decided to do my research here. Unity is an American organization. I met Unity for my very first time in Venezuela, but I remember this is an American organization. It has to be somewhere here in Pittsburgh. So I did my own research, and you know the end of the story. Here I am. Thank you. Thank you, Bobbi.
And not only is he here, but he's also serving as a board member. Thank you, Carlos. Well, the third story I have from one of our members is one I have to deliver myself because Dorothy is still hospitalized after her operation. She was hoping to give this herself, but here we are. So any of the healing prayers we have today, we'll be directing to her. Dorothy, too, was in a 12-step program in the 80s, and she brought with her a decided aversion to God and anything spiritual. She made it clear to others that she felt that way. Don't talk to me about God. I don't want to hear about that spirituality stuff. Just give me the methods, and I'll go with that. Well, out of the blue, someone anonymously sent her a gift subscription to the Daily Word. She tells me she was extremely irritated. However, she didn't throw it away. One day, she was anticipating an absolutely horrible day at work, fearing the worst for many of the people with whom she would interact. She was anxious and worried about what the day would bring. So she picked up that Daily Word and opened it up to the day. And there it was, the word for her: let go and let God. She said she read that excerpt, and she felt there and then like so much was lifted from her shoulders. She was worried about every interaction, and it was lifted. It was just taken away from her. So she closed the book, went to do her day, and she came back and said, nothing really went that well, but she did it without the anxiety that she was expecting to have to perform with. She was anticipating just going through terrible machinations in her stomach and her solar plexus. And she said none of that was true. She had given it away. She had let God handle it. Well, she didn't take those burdens into herself, but what she did do the next day was read the next word. And the next day, and the next day, and soon Dorothy says she was hooked, because there was always some way to let go or some guidance within that exactly matched what it is she needed. She didn't want a God. She didn't want a spiritual program. But it's exactly the key that fit the need, We all find that's true. And so what do we have from that daily word that she was sent by some anonymous donor? We have Dorothy, this valuable, dear, kind, smart, sweet woman that we all value, love, and pray for right now. Dorothy also goes to several Unity retreats at Unity Village, so she's pretty invested, and it's really quite lovely. I would like to not quite end our talk today, but to go into a bit of meditation, because the daily word lends itself so well to just relaxing and being in those gifted words. I can tell you one thing, that one time when I was at Unity Village, I was roaming around trying to find a little place, a little nook to study. And some of the buildings there have little nooks, and they'll have like 2 chairs on the end of like a landing of a set of stairs. And I was looking for a private place like that to study or to read my work, do my homework, whatever I was doing. And I walked up a stairwell in one of the buildings, and I saw that I was on the floor of the Daily Word, and I didn't realize that that's where I was. But I thought, oh, wow, here I am. So I walked down the hall, and I walked back, and when I walked back, I saw that there was a pretty large room to one side, and the door had a window in it, so I stared in the window for a moment, and there was a group of maybe 8 to 10 people sitting around a beautiful big like mahogany table, discussing what would be in some subsequent Daily Word. They seemed to be praying about it, discussing it. And I thought, oh, so it's a group effort. It's prayerful. They're looking to fill our needs before we know what they are. It was quite powerful for me. And I won't ever forget that vision in my head that I saw them do it. It was like prayer or miracles or something in the making. So I invite you to sit in your chair, and let me to start with, May Rowland wrote this part. How do you train yourself to pray more deeply? She says, you can start with the Daily Word. Put affirmative prayers into your mind. Meet in mental agreement with truth ideas. Practice the presence of God. And she says, repetition and agreement are both needed. So I invite you to breathe in. And as you let that breath go, relax in your chair and just let the words penetrate. Take in another breath. Maybe reach the spine up so that we're alert, but relaxed on the exhale. When there are needs in life, regardless of their nature, it is good to pray a prayer for divine order. As we pray for divine order, we know we are establishing right, just, and loving outcomes. Our prayer enables us to gain a proper perspective of any situation and see God's law of good work. We can affirm divine order knowing that it encompasses all kinds of needs. Healing is in divine order. Prosperity is in divine order. Harmony is in divine order. All the good we can ever imagine is in divine order, for God's law is good. We open ourselves to divine order through our faith-filled prayers and through committing our lives, our plans, and all that concerns us to God's law of good operating in and through us as divine order. And if we should have a need for healing, let us relax in the knowledge that perfect health is our God-given birthright. God is our perfect health. So we look past the appearances and call forth the perfection of God. We open ourselves to perfect health by letting go of all inharmonious thoughts and feelings. We sweep away unloving and unforgiving feelings. Peaceful thoughts free us to express perfect health. Jesus said, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you." So I let the peace of God fill my mind and heart, harmonizing my thoughts and my feelings. I speak words of peace to my body, and I feel God's peace revitalizing and renewing me. I affirm, the peace of God fills my mind and body, and I am healed. And so we rejoice, confident that we are being renewed and restored, claiming our perfect health today. So before we make our minute or so in quiet, I invite you to speak words of healing and peace to any bodily issue you may have. Speak to that body part as Myrtle did. Send peace, awareness of God's good work working through you. As we get ourselves quiet and experience silence. So as we come back to this space, this place where we are all together, uniting our hearts, our minds, our intentions, to be the best we know how to be, so that miracles flow through us constantly. And as we come back into this room, I want to share with you just a little bit more of the daily word. And this is from 1977 when Sig Paulson was when he was writing. And he was a very dynamic speaker. I've seen videos. He says, "Praise and give thanks to God for the gift of eternal life within you. And you will find that the response is tremendous, electrifying, energizing, and enduring. The kingdom of God, the eternal life activity in you, right, is within us, and it is our Heavenly Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. We, of course, as free souls, decide how we will respond to this free gift. We can wait for it. We can beg for it. We can work for it. We can scheme for it. We can go through all kinds of complicated rituals and practices for it, or we can joyously accept it with praise and thanksgiving. Jesus Christ, who knew the Father of life, said so well that he came that we might have life and might have it abundantly. He came to bring the world and anyone who accepts it a stream of living water, energy, to do all that you think you would like to do. Well, I could go on. I love the Daily Word. And, one more thing. What's his name? Not Sig Paulson, but the newest CEO of Unity just sent letters out. And, pardon? Yes, Jim Blake. Thank you, Marianne. Jim Blake sent a letter recently asking if we would like a copy of the newest little booklets that's coming out. I think it's Spirituality in Animals. So it's a book dedicated to pets and other animals that might have an influence on your life. And I read this letter and I thought, oh, okay, I'll get it. I have a pet, several pets. And I don't always see their spirituality in them, but sometimes I do. I'll get the book, and maybe I'll just drop it off somewhere. I have a habit of, and actually in the letter from Jim Blake, it says, when you're finished with it, you could take this little booklet to your vet's office and leave it there. And I thought, what a good idea. I have left copies of the Daily Word in doctors' offices, the dentist's office, all sorts of offices, right, that you could just say, I think I'm done with this, although I do tend to hold on to them. But we could spread the word, just like the word's been spread to us, in little ways, just little ways. You know, find a way to do God's work. And along those lines, you will find after the service is over, I picked a number of older and newer copies of the Daily Work in my stash, and they're in a basket in the hall, so feel free to take one, read it. Maybe you'll find just the thing for you, just the right word for today or for some other day. And if it doesn't suit, leave it behind for someone else in a special place. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Bobbi. Wow, that puts the Daily Word in a new light, does it? To learn so much about it and how it came about. And wow, thank you, thank you. That big book looks really interesting, too. I think I'm going to have to look at it. So now we are going to step into our prosperity practice. We continue to grow and manifest prosperity in infinite ways. If you've joined us for the first time today, please come say hello and welcome, and we have a little gift for you about unity, and there are the daily words over there you can pick up. And if you're online, go ahead and introduce yourself in chat. So thank you, Divine Creator, for blessings that continue to unfold. So let's say our prosperity prayer together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. And now we're going to hear the face of God. And feel free to sing along.
If you don't know it, that's okay. This is an echo song, so just repeat after me. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of love. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
All right, thank you. You are the face of God, each one of you. So what's going on? Goodness, today, right now, well, at 1 o'clock, we have 1 o'clock Monday coming to play with us, and we get to hear that. So please feel free to stay and have some food with us. And online, if you're online, you have enough time to get here, that is going to be lots of fun. And then at 3 o'clock is the ARE picnic from 3 to 8 in Beaver Falls. So there's that chance too. You can have a busy afternoon. And then our Unity Day of Prayer is on September 11th. There it is, from 6:30 to 7:30. If you have not come to that before, please think about it and come. It is the most wonderful, opening, prayerful day ever. And Marianne Hackworth does an amazing job. So put that on your calendar for sure. And then forest bathing on the September 13th. That's amazing too. So put that on your calendar. All right, so let's all get up together and sing our peace song.
Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. Now there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Peace has begun with me, and this is the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me.
If God surrounds me, I am light. The love of God enfolds me. I am love. The power of God protects me. I am power. The presence of God watches over me. I am presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. All right, everyone, have a great week. Make sure you stay with us for our food and lunch.